Yo, I've been hearing people in the anime community talk about anime in the form of the stock market, how they would invest their money into certain anime. And in this video, I'll be breaking down how you should invest in One Piece stock if it was a real thing. So that's how I'm going to break it down. I'm going to go with story, characters, and the potential fights. And then I'll make valuations at the end of each with a quick breakdown on why, and I'll give them a price. So first up, let's talk about the story. As you know, if you click on the video, One Piece is about Luffy and his crew looking for the One Piece so Luffy can become the king of the pirates. On their journey to get there, they will go through a lot of challenges like how to fight the Marines, find the Poneglyphs, beat Blackbeard, beat Emu, and the 5 elders. And also, they need to find what happened in the Void Century. This story has been going on for 20 years, and it's cooking, and it's coming to an end with the last couple of arcs, and it is really getting good. We just left Egghead after all that heat, but to be honest, I'm a dubbed anime guy, and I watch reviews of the chapters and the subs sometimes, so I'm caught up, but not really. But from what I heard, it's fire. So based on where One Piece is going, I would buy stocks immediately because I think hype is there, and depends on if they do a filler or are they just gonna chill. But either way, they're going hard right now with the manga, and in the anime we just got some of the toughest fights and animations we have seen in the anime. So right now it's probably the lowest the stock will be for a while, because like I said before, they can do a filler arc, they can just chill out, some flashbacks. We never really know until the chapters come out, but the way the anime has looked, the way the manga has been cooking, like, I would buy stocks in One Piece right now because they're going somewhere crazy. So let's actually talk about the valuation. And as One Piece as a whole, it'd be like an index fund. So if you were to invest in the One Piece stock, it'd be like the whole story, manga, anime, yada yada yada, and just everything else that I'll be talking about will be included in the One Piece stock. So right now, I'll say the current share price is, I'll put it at $150 per share. So now let's talk about characters. The top character stocks are always going to be the MC, the bad guy, the cool characters, and most likely your favorite character, which will be the cool character. For example, let's take Luffy. He's the main character of the show, the chosen one. He has the Nika fruit. He's the reincarnation of Joy Boy, yada yada yada. And he is the GOAT. He has the biggest dream in the show. He wants to be the king of the pirates. That's why the whole show started. That's why the whole crew is here. And also, we all know he's going to be the most powerful at the end of the show. We don't need Oda to tell us anything. We just know. And he is the main focus of the show. So I would say his stock is probably the most expensive of all characters, and I'll say his stock is worth minimum $60 per share. Next up, let's talk about Zoro. This is really my GOAT. Like, sometimes it would be Luffy my GOAT one day, then Zoro. Like, these two are my favorite characters in the whole show. But Zoro is another character that gets a lot of spotlight. Like, he has the second biggest dream, I think, in the whole show, to become the greatest swordsman, and that's gonna be like a fire journey. Like, we love Zoro, ladies love him, the guys want to beat him, things of that nature. And also, Zoro has some of the most anticipated fights of all of One Piece, and that will be his fight with Mihawk. This is something that people wanted to see for years. If you were 20 years ago watching One Piece and saw Mihawk wipe the floor with Zoro, like you really want them to get into another fight. You want Zoro to slide back and become the world's greatest swordsman by the end of the show. And also, his fight with King still gets talked about as being one of the best fights in the whole anime. And also, he beat Lucci with one hit, and with all that, and also One Piece fans love sword fights. Pause. So with all that info I just said, the Zoro stocks are close to Luffy stocks, and I'll value them at $55. Next up, we got Blackbeard, and if One Piece stocks were available or were a thing when he was first introduced, and you bought Blackbeard stocks, you would be a billionaire like Jeff Bezos right now, because the glow up Blackbeard has had is insane. When he was introduced, he was a complete random and became one of the strongest characters we have seen up to this moment. Like, if you really go back and watch One Piece, you would never think Blackbeard was part of Whitebeard's crew, the man Ace was looking for. You would never think he would got to that point. You'd think he's just some random crazy person in, like, wherever they met Bellamy. Like, that's really insane. And in 2 years in the show, he went from a complete random on Whitebeard's crew to an Emperor of the Sea. And if you watch One Piece, you know that you have to be super strong and have motion, and doing something like that is insane work. So with that being said, Blackbeard stock is definitely going up by a lot, but for right now, I'll put his stock at the same price as Luffy's. And this is reason being is because people already know he's a bad guy, and like I said before, like, bad guy stocks are always going to be valuable because they're always going to be the coolest. They're always going to have the biggest fight. Like, no matter who the bad guy is, they will always have a lot of spotlight on them, and will be very strong and one of the main characters of the show. Now let's glaze Shanks a little bit. Shanks is him. He has proficiency in all types of hockey, stopped the war with his presence, beat Kaido, I think, and people think his crew is the strongest crew in the whole show, even though all they've done is pose. Shanks is the GOAT of One Piece, and all he's done in the show is show up at random moments, one-shot kid who most of the fan base hates with a passion. And nevertheless, we love Shanks. And just by his name alone, there are conspiracies about him being the villain, being a rat, maybe helping Luffy. Like, we never know what Shanks is up to. We don't know what he's planning. We don't know why he's going after the One Piece right now. So we already, Shanks is loved by everybody. And with all this hype around his name, I'll put his stocks like a little bit lower than Zoro's. Reason being, we have nothing to really go on, and like, we just have cool and hype. That's the only thing Shanks has going for him, and powerful. So I'm gonna put his stock starting at $50. Next character I'll be talking about is Buggy. And there isn't too much on Buggy. He's funny, he's the Emperor of the Sea, but feat wise, he has nothing really going for him for real. He just has Mihawk and Crocodile on the side, and they treat him like a punching bag. So yeah, I know Buggy's going after the One Piece like everybody else, but his personal stock, just by him as a character and like the amount of power he will get, and like I said, as him as a character, he doesn't have a lot of value. Like, I mean, hype wise, I mean, cool factor. Like, he doesn't really have that going for him. So I would say $20 for now, but I would expect that to change, and I would put a little bit of money in Buggy stock. All right, let's talk about Dragon. This one's a little tough because Dragon hasn't done anything. All he has is hype around his name, being the world's worst criminal, and we're just basing his cool factor off of Luffy and Garp's feats. We don't know what devil fruit he has. We don't know what he's capable of. We don't know if he's going to do anything before the final war. So, and like, he's low-key on fraud watch. Like, let's keep it a buck. Dragon is on fraud watch because he didn't slide for Sabo. He didn't slide for anybody. He kind of just chilled. I'm pretty sure he didn't slide for Kuma. Spoiler alert, he didn't slide for Kuma. So we don't have nothing to really go on, and I think his hype is low-key dying because, as I said, he hasn't really done anything since the very beginning of the show in Lockdown, when he saved Luffy and stopped Smoker. So I'm gonna put his stock price same level as Buggy's at $20. Will it go up? Absolutely. Am I undervaluing Dragon stock? Maybe a smidget, but like, if you watch One Piece, you get where I'm coming from. Let's start talking about battles. and the battles that are going to happen in One Piece are going to be the best we will see out of the anime, especially with the animation getting better and better. So let's get right into it. Number one, I think the most glazed fight, the one that I am hyped for, is Zoro vs. Mihawk. Zoro vs. Mihawk is the most anticipated fight in the whole anime. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, in all of anime, like, this is the one that people really want to see, especially One Piece fans. If you watch One Piece, Zoro is in your top 5 favorite characters, Mihawk is in your top 10, and you really want to see Zoro beat Mihawk, and you want to see Mihawk go all out. So, like, in the first fight, we've already seen the difference between Zoro and Mihawk, and seeing where they match up now, seeing if Zoro can really, like, match up to Mihawk, especially when in their first fight, Mihawk used a butter knife to beat Zoro, who was using 3 katanas. He was using 3 sword style, going all out, and then finished him with a slash of death. It's a show of respect. So Mihawk does respect Zoro. Mihawk trains Zoro, so we can really see where, like, they're at, and we already know, or hopefully, that Zoro will become the world's greatest swordsman by the end of the show. Then, low-key, I think this is the only fight that's been foreshadowed, or the only fight that's been, like, really expected, really drawn out, that this fight is going to happen. We don't know when, but people have their preferences on if it's before they find the One Piece or after. We don't know whose dreams are coming true first. I just hope that they do it justice, and it's really, like, it breaks the internet. So with all that being said, I would say I'll value this stock at $100 because of hype. People want this fight badly, and I know they're going to do it justice. Cross my heart, they do it justice. And, like, the build up and the characters involved, like I said, Zoro and Mihawk are definitely some of your favorite characters in all of One Piece. Next fight we got up is Luffy vs. Emu. And this fight, I'm not sure it's really hyped. I'm not really around One Piece fans too much, so I'm not really sure if this is going to be hyped, because we don't have enough information on Emu. We just know he's cool, he's the king of the world. Either he's been alive for 1,000 years or more, he's immortal, we don't know yet. And we don't have enough information to see if this fight's just going to be history repeating itself, or another of Luffy's fights where he is just beating up the big bad guy. But with all that being said, I think it's going to be fire, so I'll value it at $70. Like I said, not enough information, not enough build up for it to be, like, how should I put this, for you to be excited for it. Like, you're excited mentally that, oh yeah, it's going to be Luffy versus the biggest bad, but at the end of the day, we don't know if Emu is really like that. He probably is, or she probably is, we don't know their gender, but they're probably tough. But it's another one of Luffy's fights where it's just he has to take on the big bad while everybody else is off doing their own fight. And the last fight I'm going to talk about is the Straw Hats versus the Blackbeard Pirates. And this one, same thing with the Emu fight. This one is kind of weird because at this point we barely see them interact at all. So they're not really ops, they're more like rivals. Don't get me wrong, the battles are going to be fire, but I think the fight is going to get lost in the sauce between the final war and the Void Century arc. Like, I think it's just going to get lost in between. Also, we can only guess who's going to fight who, because some of the Straw Hats will get ruined. I'm talking, it would be a massacre if they were to fight the Blackbeard Pirates, like, right now, with no Zoro, no Luffy, no Sanji, no Jinbei. Like, they would get ruined. So with that being said, I'll value this fight at $65 because there is no precedent for the fight, and everything else that's gonna go on in the story is just a lot, in my opinion, a lot more interesting than seeing the Straw Hats versus the Blackbeard Pirates. So yeah, and I'm not really sure where it's gonna take place. Either it's gonna be before the final war or after. Either way, it will still be kind of underwhelming, considering the fact that Luffy and Blackbeard even don't really hate each other. They just had the same goal, and only one of them could reach it. So that's the only reason they're even gonna have beef at all. Okay, here's the bonus. Joy Boy stocks. Joy Boy stocks are definitely gonna be on the rise, because although he lost to the Alliance back in the day, we just saw some of his hockey that was infused into rope and squad wiped the Marines. A Buster Call. It beat the 5 Elders. It got Emu on his knees for whatever reason. We don't know how strong this man really was in his prime, and that's insane work. So yeah, Joy Boy stocks are gonna go through the roof when they go back and do a flashback of the 4th century. They figure out why Joy Boy is doing what he did, how strong he was. Like, it's gonna be insane. That's the end. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If this video was interesting, let me know if I'm cooking or I didn't like value the price of the shares right, and subscribe.